Pledge allegiance to the flag of the States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, called the April 10th, 2025 meeting to order in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of the state of New Jersey. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Culver City Council was provided in the following manner. Advance written notice of this meeting was posted in the Egg Harbor City Bulletin Board and on the Egg Harbor City website. Advance written notice of this meeting was sent to the Hamilton Gazette and the Atlantic City Press. Roll call, please.
Mayor Jim Petty,
Here.
Ms. Clark,
Here.
Mr. Cash will not be here, Mr. Dovey,
Here.
Ms. Galloway,
I'm here.
Ms. Heist,
Here.
Ms. Hesse,
Here.
Mr. Keener,
Yes.
Mr. Timbers.
Here.
I'm right.
Here,
Okay, number 4 on our agenda is approve the minutes of March 27th.
make a motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No, motion passes. Okay, number 5 is public comment for any items that are on our agenda. Going once, twice, okay. Number 6, we have the mayor's report.
Okay, so I spoke to the county. I guess everyone's probably noticed how bad Philadelphia Avenue looks about restriping the street, and unfortunately, their striper is still broken since the fall when I asked them to do it. So they're going to do the crosswalks and they're going to do the handicap sections by hand.
Hmm.
The stripe in the middle is gonna have to wait until they figure something out. Also, the rec grant that we applied for the tot lot, we did not get that, unfortunately. And I have also many of you know, at the last meeting, I signed a pledge to support the Monarch Butterfly program. So I do have a proclamation. That is one of the things that I have to do. So I'll just read that real quick. Whereas the monarch butterflies are important pollinators and may soon be facing endangerment. Whereas native milkweed plants and the monarch butterflies, or where the monarch butterflies lay their eggs, are becoming scarce, and as are the nectar producing plants that they rely on for food. Whereas to bring awareness to this issue, I have pledged to take certain actions over the next year and help strengthen and increase the monarch butterfly population. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Dr. Lisa Jim Petty, Mayor of Egg Harbor City, proclaim April 10th to 2025 to April 10th, 2026 as Monarch Butterfly Awareness Year in Egg Harbor City, and ask that all the stakeholders in the city participate in this effort to strengthen and increase the monarch butterfly population. Okay. So a couple things that are going on, and there's a few others that I'm not going to mention because I'm sure Nanette and Kim will. We have the cleanup day. The annual citywide cleanup day is May 3rd. All the information is on the Facebook page, Channel 97, and also the Instagram. Sunday, oh, and then, yeah, Sunday the 13th, not really an event, but the frat house on Atlantic Avenue will be doing cleaning Atlantic Avenue from Philadelphia Avenue to Bremen Avenue. Everybody knows that that's super bad. And I think that's all I have so far.
I have
For
a couple
the-
questions.
Mhm.
The county on their striping of Philadelphia Avenue, did they talk about when they plan to repave it?
It'll probably, I don't know when it's gonna be repaid.
It
I don't
really
think they're
needs-
even planning on it, but I didn't,
I
he
thought
would
it
have
was on
mentioned it.
their list to be.
Well,
repaved.
I think they were trying to hold off for the bike path somewhere around that area so that they could do it all at once, but I couldn't swear to it. So,
And just regarding the monarch butterflies, we have a resident of Egg Harbor City who has a lot of milkweed
mhm,
that she's going to be sharing with us, and we'll be planting in wooded areas along roadsides and so forth. So
mhm, good.
that'll probably be May.
Good. And one thing we have to work on, Jerry, is also I haven't had a chance to do it yet, but teaching the guys, like especially around Peace Pilgrim Park and the gullies or whatever you call them. Don't get too close to, you know, where the chopping down the milkweeds, because we do have milkweeds at Peace Pilgrim. But unfortunately, sometimes they get chopped down. Okay, thank you. Oh, wait, one more thing. May 18th is the mayor's walk. I forgot to mention that. I knew there was something else. So
Maybe most signs would help with in those areas to, because I see those going down Cullen Avenue, there's certain species of, I don't know. what
that they
shrubs
don't
or stuff,
mow,
then
yeah.
They have signs that are like, it's between certain days,
Mhm.
these are no mow areas.
Right.
So maybe we can do that.
Anything else?
Nope, thank you.
Okay, next we're on to city council committee reports. Start with the safety committee, code enforcement, and Rotary with Councilwoman
Okay,
Bessie.
I have nothing for safety, but Rotary, the Easter egg hunt, again, I'll repeat, will be at Rotary Park this Saturday, April 12th at 11 a.m. Children 1 to 12 are invited to join in the fun. If the Rotary does decide to cancel due to inclement weather, the rain date will be the following Saturday, the 19th. If canceled, the information will be posted Friday, April 11th. You can find it on the city's website, Facebook page, the Rotary's Facebook page, as well as I believe the mayor will make a robocall as well. That's all I have for the Rotary. And the code committee meeting, a code committee meeting was held April 8th. The ACUA was in attendance, providing information concerning dumpsters and toters. As you probably already know, the committee has been working on our trash ordinance, and the ACUA has information we needed to help us complete the ordinance. On April 2nd, we had interviews, which that you probably already know. We're having interviews for the code enforcement officer, a second part-time or a third part-time officer. And the interview for the officer was held by the committee. Mr. Barbero, our administrator, was in attendance. The committee agreed to move forward with the applicant. His start date is pending the completion of his background check, with the proposed start date being June 2nd. Mr. Barbero, if you have anything to add at this time for the code committee. Okay. And the last thing I'd like to say is I'd like to give the quarterly summary for code. And they have, this is the first quarter, 2025. Administrative duties were 107, certified mail and code compliance reports, 64, illegal dumping, 9, in-person notifications, 33, inspections, 393, investigations, 132, red cards issued, 14, telephonic email notifications, 80, TV tag issues, 22. And just to make a note about the TV tags, I will keep on announcing this, to take your electronics to the Public Works area there and drop them off till 3 o'clock, Jerry, is it? I think it's till 3.
3:30.
Till 3:30. Okay, they have, when you go into the gate on the right-hand side, they have a big, well, what would you say?
Metal container.
Metal container there that you can just drop it off at. So, I will keep on bringing this up because, I think a lot of people still are not aware. But what they do is when the, department goes around, they will put a tag on your TVs or your electronics so that you know what to do, and it says where you take them as well. And then the last thing on the list was the zoning reviews conducted were 83. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Council President, can I?
Sure.
Councilwoman Hesse,
Mhm.
the 4-H also, I don't know if it's once a month or twice a month, they also do an electronic gathering where they gather it up, and I think it's actually a fundraiser.
Mm-hmm.
So you can take your public works, I mean, not your public works, you can take your electronics down there,
Mm-hmm.
and then they use it as a fundraiser to get funds to help offset the costs of 4-H.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I
we do-
posted it on on our Facebook page months ago.
The
Yeah.
4-H one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's down there. My
It's on
other
there.
question is, on the ACUA and the toters,
Mhm.
have we put out an RFP for trash collection for any other companies? Because I know there's a lot of companies out there, and there's a lot of newer companies coming out for trash collection where they will provide a toter and we don't have to pay an additional, it's part of the contract with the trash collecting. Galloway uses a couple different companies now,
Uh-huh.
and a lot of them, I know in Galloway you have to hire your own company, but I know they'll also do a full municipality. Is that an option before we turn around and we go with ACUA again? And I'm not saying we shouldn't. What I'm saying is it worth getting a comparable RFP from other trash collecting companies to see if the toters are included and we don't have to spend that full amount on toters? Is that something we would be interested in doing as a council?
We can do that. I mean, there's nothing, nothing stopping us from doing that. It never would, it can't hurt.
When's
I
our
mean,
contract
I
with
think
the
so.
ACUA?
Jody, could you tell me, is that,
Here.
what's that? We're just,
Year to year.
when is it up though? Is it in June or is it in April? It's like, it's coming up, I believe.
I mean, they may come in higher and that's something we would know,
Right.
but if they come in lower, it may be beneficial for the taxpayers and then we don't have to spend that large amount in toters if they're willing to provide them with the contract with a new company.
Right, you don't know whether they're,
You
they're,
don't know until you try.
right.
Well, I would just put this out there that if you're going to go out for that it should be service for service because
Yeah.
ACUA offers a lot of services that other trash
Oh,
companies
absolutely.
have.
What they give us is what we should put the RFP, what we get. the
Not just
ACUA,
price, not just price is a
Sure.
factor.
You know,
Yes, that pricing, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what you would normally.
I don't know what's been done recently, but I'm sure that's standard procedure. When-
I don't
when
think
the
we put
contract
out
is up.
I don't think we put out for trash in all the years I've been up here.
Mhm.
And
So
I'm on
if
either
I
night
might
here.
comment,
Please.
it's required that, not an RFP, it needs to be a bid. And it has to be on the street for 90 days, that's state law.
Right.
So it's it's not, nothing's gonna be accomplished by, the quote end of the contract, but, so you gotta have, usually have your engineer put together specs so that everybody's bidding.
I've done it for the other municipalities in the past, and because the state has a very easy to follow guideline to how to do it, and even has a model RFP or bid they can put out. So it's pretty easy in the state of New Jersey because the state has set you up to be able to do that as often as you want.
And I'm sure there's time left on this contract or we have to look at that, right?
Or
I don't
we're
think
going
it's
year
much.
to year.
You said it's year to year?
Yeah.
Is that,
Probably January, would they? Or December,
I
December.
thought it was a
Mm-mm, I
3 or
think it's
4 year
every
contract. No.
It's been many, many years now. It's just kind of renewed every year.
Mm.
So the ACUA contracts, some of them are for years. 3, 5
Right.
years, you can't go longer than 5 years. And some are for 2 or 1, it depends on what the town wants to do. But most towns in Atlantic County have just continued with the
Okay.
ACUA.
The listserv that I participate with in the Managers Association. We talked about this at the end of every year, and last year, we had a lot of communities had significant price increases. Where I work full time, they had a 10% price increase right off the bat. So costs are going up for private, maybe private sanitation, as opposed to authorities and other, additionally supported sanitation companies. So
Well, Jody, if we renew that every year, that has to come before city council, correct? So I haven't seen since,
We don't usually, like,
really,
I think it's an automatic
Yeah.
rollover.
Yeah.
The contract
Yeah.
anticipates
Yeah.
unless either the city or the ACUA notifies with
Right.
sufficient time to say, we'd like to not do it, or we want to go through a bidding
Right.
process.
Right.
And some towns do that.
And if
Okay.
by chance it's, say, April or May or June, and it's before the 90 days, is there any way we can extend it? you know, it,
Well, that
while
would
we
up to
would be
council.
doing
We'd have
something
to
like
Bring
this
it up here, yes.
with the ACUA.
So it really is extended automatically.
Automatically does.
Okay, but I mean, not a
So
full
if you
year.
go out to bid, you're defining when the contract's gonna end.
Okay.
So
Well, I'm a little confused, just rolling it over. If there's a price increase, we get notified of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get notified of that, okay.
that's done on an annual basis, yeah.
But then it would still have to come here for council to say, yay, we agree with that or not. And I haven't seen any of that since January. Really.
I haven't seen it.
So we just accept the increase. Well, I would think,
Council brought that they've talked in the past about going out to bid, but.
have you received an increase recently?
It follows the consumer price index, so every year that follows, and we get like a notice of what the price increase is.
Okay.
So Jerry, can you prepare something for us? Thank
All
you.
right. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Uh,
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Galloway for property and for sustainable Lake Harbor City.
Off the property. The Green Team's gonna host its first event of the Spring Environmental Series this Saturday morning at 10 a.m. here at City Hall. We have a speaker from the Pinelands Preservation Alliance who's going to talk about the unique biosphere of the Pinelands, and he's going to bring some flowers and things that you can't find anywhere else in the world, and talk about some of the plants and animals that live in the Pinelands and so forth. So we got a good response with registrations for that. It's free. Anybody's welcome to come. I hope to see a lot of people there. Arbor Day is 3 to 6 p.m. Friday, April 25th at Peace Pilgrim Park. It's been really difficult to get any vendors to come, so it'll probably be a smaller event than it was last year. And last year was small. So, but we will be distributing trees. We're going to be getting 15 large trees, like 8 feet tall, and some tree saplings. We have 2 different species, a large tree and a small tree. And plans are still being worked out. We have a bid opening Wednesday morning for a licensed tree expert to maintain our street trees. So I'm hoping that we get a lot of response there too. Also, I attended a meeting of the Atlantic County Parks Environmental Advisory Committee on April 2nd. And it was about forestry and our forests here in Lake Harbor City. It was well attended, and there were several people there from Lake Harbor City. And much of the discussion during this meeting was about Lake Harbor City's forests. So I think we should look into this more, because according to the expert that was there, the forests in New Jersey are actually dying because they're never maintained. And if they're thinned out, it allows the bigger trees to grow, it allows the underbrush to grow, creates habitats for animals and so forth. So I'm going to see if I could put together a seminar at one of our green team meetings with state, well, invite the state as well, but this forester's name is Bob Williams. And he said our trees haven't been maintained for over 100 years. So it might be time to look at that. And there's also value in those trees, especially the cedars and so forth.
That was always a controversial subject.
Yeah, it was. I was gonna say that.
That's what the discussion was all about, and that it's very controversial, but it's because people don't understand about the forests and what benefits them. And anything you do with them, if you did go in and thin them out, it wouldn't cost anybody anything, because the lumber would be used for milling, and it would preserve the forest for the next 100 years.
It would probably help the white birch too, because you don't see the white birch anymore because they've been so.
There's species that are
Yeah.
getting wiped out, and you know, when you have monoculture instead of a variety of trees, it's dangerous for.
I know in the past, they were
Insects and so
worried about clear cutting, and that's what some of these companies want to do. They want to come in and clear cut so
Well,
much.
that was discussed, especially with cedar trees, because cedar trees don't grow unless they're fully exposed to the sun. So you really do have to clear cut cedar stands to allow new stands to grow. But it was really interesting, and I think, you know, it would be good for our city to at least learn more and discuss it and see if there's a future there for us. That's it. Thank you.
Well, I do remember years ago, when I was a councilwoman, I suggested that we cut some cedar trees down on, over by the river. And I got pretty much my head chopped off
Yeah.
by certain council people that were sitting here.
Yeah.
But what happened
I
now?
was sitting out there.
What happened then after Superstorm Sandy? And you could say it's not true, but that salt water infiltrated those trees and now they're all dead.
Yes, exactly.
And there is a lot of money in cedar that could have gone very far at Egg Harbor City,
There's
but
discussion
nobody
about
wanted to do it.
Pinelands,
Or one.
comprehensive
two people.
management plan, and that when it was created, it was designed to preserve Pineland style industries such as milling. And things have changed over the years. The State Forestry Service is looking to restore some of our forests in New Jersey, because it's not just here, it's all over the East Coast. It's,
Right. Okay, anything else?
that's
Councilman Wright for Parks and Playgrounds?
Got it.
Okay. Councilman Timbers? For license ordinance? Aaron,
Yes, Aaron Hoffman is nothing to report. Land use, nothing to report. Ordinances, Councilwoman Hesse, she actually addressed it last time we met, which I think was last Tuesday. We discussed the ordinance for the trash ordinance. And I think we are progressing pretty well. I think we have some language that I believe our attorney is reviewing now.
odd even watering.
Hmm.
The odd even watering.
Oh, yes, we also discussed possibility of an ordinance. Should a drought be declared by the state or risk of drought, that we could modify our water usage within the town. And it would be a schedule, basically odd and even.
anything else?
That's it.
Councilman Dovey for DPW?
There's, I'm gonna let Jerry give a more detailed report on Public Works, but there was a meeting earlier this week with Ryan from Remington and Vernon, Jerry, yourself, and the mayor and I going over capital projects or projects the engineer was. One of the discussions that came out of that, we asked Ryan about a road pavement assessment tool that he had mentioned earlier in the year. And asked him what was entailed. So we actually had tentatively prepared to have him make a presentation tonight on that program. So basically, it is a program, a computer program that from the air looks at from aerial photography, looks at the road system, both the terraces and the streets and avenues, and assesses them from 1 to 5. 5, I think, is the worst, or one
it's the
other way around. Basically identifies where the worst roads are, and then we could use that tool to decide what our paving program can be from year to year, and actually develop a 3 or 5 year paving program, depending on how much money is available, either from state or other sources, or self-funding it ourselves if we choose to do that. That also includes an assessment of the signage and an inventory of all the signage that is municipal, like stop signs and so forth. So I had an opportunity to talk to Councilman Dash and to Councilman Wright, that this may come up tonight, but Ryan's not here, so we're.
Did he call Joe?
His son he told us the other day, his son has a baseball game,
Okay,
so he'll be here around 7:30.
So he may still
That's
do
right,
it.
he
He
did
was
say.
gonna do a remote program.
It's all on.
Okay, good. So we will, anyway, that's gonna come up for discussion. It would be a cost. It's not on the agenda. But if there is happens to be a consensus to move forward with it, it costs $9,000. It's an additional charged by Remington and Burnett. They utilize this in many of their municipalities that they are the municipal engineers for. And it's very helpful, and it takes out the sort of randomness of, well, I think that street should be done, or this street, I think that's worse. So anyway. So if Ryan has an opportunity to present it either tonight or at our next meeting, we'll do that. That's it.
Okay. Is Councilwoman Clark
Yes.
online? Okay, for the school board?
Good evening, everyone. Real quick with regards to the 4-H, it's every third Saturday from 9 to 12 at the 4-H grounds for your electronic recycling. So I have the flyer. I can post that on the municipal page. As for school board, I missed yesterday's meeting because I was attending another meeting for the Crusaders. But with regards to the budget, the mayor reached out to the school business administrator. And she was able to get the information on the budget, and we were told that there's only a minimal increase that will be for the debt service, which is dictated by the bond repayment scheduling. However, the general dollars remained flat. And I believe it is up for May for the final approval of the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes.
Ingrid, it's Carl. On that, did they ever say anything about when they're gonna finish the fields and the concession stand?
That is that's a discussion with Councilman Wright and also with Mr. McGowan. They're trying to schedule a meeting with the Pinelands.
Thank you.
Okay. We do have a finance redevelopment meeting on Monday from 2 to 4. I have a report, and I've failed to do this in other meetings from the tax collector. And not to get into all the little detail, but we did collect in the month of March $113,827.05. And year to date, we've collected $2,721,020.95. And I don't have anything else on that. So go to Chief of Police.
We'll start off with some numbers since we last met on March 27th. We've had 4 burglary reports, 1 fraud, 1 narcotics activity reported, 1 simple assault, 1 stolen vehicle, 4 accidents. We've had 7 motor vehicle accidents, 28 traffic stops, for a total of the total number of summonses issued, that's not correct. It says 13, but we didn't, I know that. Arrests, we had 9 total, including 1 DUI arrest. We had 8 business alarms, 2 residential alarms, 68 crime prevention activities, 1 criminal mischief call, 6 domestic, 22 EMS incidents, 7 firearms ID applications, 15 follow-up investigations, 156 property checks, and 7 public service calls. One thing that I am able to share, we do a lot of collaborative work with different law enforcement agencies, both county and state. On Monday, which was the 7th, yes, on Monday the 7th, I'm just going to review a synopsis of some stuff that our officers have been working in collaboration with the state police and with Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office. And this is just a synopsis based on preliminary information. New Jersey State Police Metro South, with the assistance of the T's, South Central North P9 unit, Troop A, the Crime Suppression South unit, TACPAC, State Police HAZMAT, Atlantic County SWAT, Atlantic City SWAT, Egg Harbor City Police Department, Galloway Township Police Department, Absecon Police Department, and Lake City Police Department executed 2 no-knock and announced, or 2 knock and announced, and 3 no-knock residential search warrants, 2 motor vehicle search warrants, and 2 body warrants in reference to a narcotics related investigation.
regarding the distribution of heroin. Search warrants on the following residences were executed simultaneously. The 900 block of Morton Avenue in Absecon, the 600 block of South Philadelphia Avenue in Galloway, the 500 block of Philadelphia Avenue in Egg Harbor, the 200 block of Buffalo Avenue in Egg Harbor City, and the 1500 block of West Riverside Drive in Lynn City. Seized as a result of this investigation was the following: $9,516 in US currency, a Beretta handgun, a Glock handgun, an imitation firearm, multiple hollow point rounds, 72 ounces of marijuana, 8 heroin wax folds, 14 grams of methamphetamine, 11.5 grams of mushrooms, numerous ecstasy pills, along with other stuff. The following subjects were processed and charged accordingly. Ryan Foster of Absecon was charged with third-degree distribution of heroin, third-degree possession of heroin, possession of CVS paraphernalia,
He's from mom.
third degree unlawful possession of a weapon, second degree possession of handgun with CVS, third degree possession of CVS and stolen, fourth degree possession of other narcotic, and fourth degree resisting by flight. Robert F. Strong was arrested in Atlantic City. The $9,560 was seized from that location, charged with third degree possession of heroin, possession of CVS paraphernalia, second degree possession of a handgun with CVS offense, third degree distribution of heroin, third degree money laundering, fourth degree possession of stolen firearm, the second degree possession of a handgun, fourth degree possession of large capacity magazine, fourth degree possession of hollow point bullet, second degree possession of CVS by convicted felon. Stephen McKinney was arrested for possession, third degree possession of crack cocaine, possession of CVS paraphernalia. Gerald Diggs was arrested for possession of a mutation firearm. John Pressley was arrested for possession of CVS third degree distribution of marijuana, possession of CVS paraphernalia. George Sawyer was charged with distribution of CVS marijuana, third degree. Sharon Tremontina was arrested with possession of paraphernalia, and Cody Collier was arrested as a one person for an outstanding warrant that he had. So this has been an ongoing investigation that our officers have been involved in to help build all of this up. So we are busy, and I don't know, some of you may recognize some of the names on there. So, you know, it's something that we are fully aware of, and that we are, you know, actively taking part in investigating and utilizing whatever resources we have, as well as reaching out to others to make sure that we are able to provide the best services to our residents. That's about all I have. So,
Okay, thank you.
any questions? Great.
No.
Going once, twice.
Okay, thank you. Next, for his first ever city administrator report.
My 400 council meeting.
First in Egg Harbor City.
Egg Harbor City, I'm very happy to be here. So to expand on a little bit about what Councilman Dovey said, the pavement condition survey is very important. This year so far, we've used 15 ton of cold patch filling in potholes, and we have an additional 5 ton in the yard right now to continue to do that. So we're almost completed with this round. Tomorrow's weather is not going to be conducive for us to continue to do it. But this is the time of year, April, May, when potholes become extremely prevalent. So the pavement condition will be very important for the city in the future, especially having the ability to understand which roads are the worst. Obviously, everyone drives through the roads before they know which ones they are. But it's important for us to rate the condition of each one. So I'm happy that we're talking about that. There's a lot of limbs and branches that we're still picking up. The crew is very efficient at picking up the small branches. We use the backhoe. And if we're doing a large tree or a large set of limbs, we'll take the chipper out. And then we've been very active with the the ball field with the Little League, helping Mr. Gary as well as across the street, making sure that that field, I was in contact with Ryan so that we could add additional infield mix to that field, which was done today. And DPW and police have been very active with the code enforcement department, doing several things, mostly complicated actions that require everyone's assistance. So that's really good. I'm excited about tomorrow's rain because I can get a chance to take a look and see which basins are actually working, which are not working. It's very important to be able to do that. I do have already a catch basin on Buffalo that I need to check on. As far as the administrative responsibilities, we've just had a series of meetings, long meetings with Ryan. They wear me out. And his planner and others, but I need to know what projects are actually going on so that I can see what my level of involvement will be or is going to be in that regard. Other than that, that's it. If there's any questions from the council members, I'm always available.
Any questions? Okay, thank you, Jared. Okay, CFO report? Okay,
I just wanted to mention that we're scheduled to have a budget meeting at the next meeting, but that I won't be able to be in attendance for that. So if we need another one, if anything, as of now, I don't see anything major changing, but if it does, we can try to have one before the May meeting when we're planning to adopt if that's okay.
Right.
Or if
Okay.
we really need something to discuss.
Perfect.
Or any unforeseen
Play by ear,
circumstances.
see what happens. Okay,
I'll keep everyone posted.
okay, city clerk? Okay. Meg is on vacation and enjoying herself in sunny Florida.
And working while she's there.
Yeah, and working. City attorney, any reports?
The other thing I'd give an update to council about is the tortured history of the municipal court case that's been pending for a long time. It's yet a matter. This dates back to 2023, I believe. It's bounced around from your normal court, which is Hamilton, to Cape to Atlantic City, and most recently back in Hamilton. We appeared on Tuesday, or Tuesday for a lengthy meeting with the judge and prosecutor. As of right now, we were scheduled to reappear on Tuesday the 22nd for the motion that prosecutor filed with regards to the administrative warrant, so that our fire inspectors can get inside the building and look at it. So that should be moving forward that day, and hopefully get that order, and all the 16 outstanding code violations are scheduled to be heard on May, May
11th, you said?
May 15th, May 11th. Yeah, I think 3 weeks or 2 weeks after the 22nd, whatever that may be. But yeah, it maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, we start to get some resolutions that it's been pending for a long time. So moving forward, and I'll update you as we move forward.
Well, thank you for staying on top of that, because that's,
Can I just add something to that? I've seen them, they're starting to work on the roof of the bowling alley for some reason. I'm not sure if that was anything that was told to them that they had to do.
No, they got a permit for that. The roof's leaking.
I was about to say, it's probably leaking on those antiques.
Yeah.
It's junk, yeah.
Treasures, they're treasures.
Treasures, right.
okay, Brian, our engineers report.
Yeah, thank you. Start with saying thank you for allowing me to be a half hour or so late. So I got 3 hits today, so now. Good start for his first day.
I think the Phillies could use.
Yeah. So I'll first touch on the Violytics is the company that we have partnered with for a little over a year now. We've had a lot of success with them so far. We're really happy. There's actually somebody on the Zoom call who's preparing to give a presentation. Just a quick overview, a couple slides about what it is, what it can do. So I'll turn it over to them if
Yeah, please.
on and ready, you can hear.
No, he said he's ready to present.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm here. Give me 1 second to share the screen.
Sure.
He should be able to share. it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the chambers, but is everybody able to see?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Well, I want to thank the council as well as Ryan for having us here. Really excited to be working with Egg Harbor City. A little bit about Violytics. We are a condition assessment tool for roadways. Essentially, the way it works is you have a smartphone. It gets put up in the dashboard of any vehicle. You would drive the roads, and the camera of that smartphone would be taking photos as you're driving. Those photos are assessed via artificial intelligence and looking at the road defects for every segment of road in the town or in the city. You can do this as often as you like, so you can get really up-to-date information about the conditions of all the roads as often as you like. On top of that, we do have a few other tools, things to assign work orders. So say if you find a pothole, you can assign that within the system automatically to the Department of Public Works. You can, assess and keep track of other assets as well, not just the pavement. And it really kind of provides a lot of functionality and helps the city allocate resources in a better way to effectively maintain the infrastructure more effectively. We have a few different tools. So the first tool being our inventory management. This is going to be an automatic inventory of things like street signs, manholes, catch basins. They would automatically be detected from the images that's being scanned, and that's being put on a map and being able to be tracked and maintained by the city. We also have our maintenance infrastructure that basically is the assessment of those photos with AI. It's giving you scoring a 1 to 5 scale of each road point, as well as every segment of road in the city. And then we also have our core, which essentially is a image documentation of the right of way of the entire city. So while you're doing these assessments, we're saving these photographs. It works similar to a Google Street View in that you have a visual record of what the street looked like every time you do a scan. So you can see exactly what's going on any single street across the entire city. A few of the things that we'll be able to deliver, we are able to do a track control. So this is a GPS tracking of the location of a vehicle. This can be used for things like snow plows, street sweepers, anything where you want to keep track and have a record of somebody following a certain path. Obviously, we do provide the condition assessments for the roadways. We also have a work order tool, like I mentioned, so you can associate an issue on the road and quickly assign that as a task to somebody within a certain department to take care of that and maintain that infrastructure. We also have our asset creation tool where you can inventory additional assets that are not street signs or manholes, things like shade trees or park benches or trash cans. Really anything that the city is maintaining can be plotted onto the same map, and you can associate those work orders with those specific assets and have a record of each individual asset within the city being maintained. Digging in a little bit more, when we do a condition assessment, you will get a very detailed map of the entire city, showing you a color-coded map of the conditions of every road. You can also pull out more of a spreadsheet view and see, each segment individually and see what the scores are for those segments. You can also zoom in and actually click on the individual points that we're looking at photos and actually look at the image that we're looking at and see exactly what's going on the road there. On top of that, we are doing an automatic inventory of street signs, as well as manhole covers and catch basins. So simply by driving through the street, each individual street sign is going to be tagged automatically, and we are actually assessing the condition of those as well. So for example, if a street sign is blocked by a tree branch, it's faded, if it's dirty, if it's graffitied, we'll tag that in the system, and you're actually able to click on an individual sign, create a work order to appropriately maintain each individual sign, and then have a record of that being completed once it's done. We also can pull in additional assets. So I mentioned things like shade trees, trash cans, fire hydrants, really anything that the city wants to maintain. You can input those in the system. We also have a great tool for inventorying them if you don't have a great idea of what's out there. And from there, it works similarly where you can associate individual work orders with those assets and really just keep a record of what's been going on over time. Finally, we have our planning tools. Essentially, what this does is it pulls in planned projects that for repaving roads, and it allows you to weigh the costs and the benefit of each planned project. So obviously, We'd love to be able to pave every single road that needs it, but that's not always in the budget every year. With this, we're going to weigh the pros and cons of what's the condition of that road, what is the cost of that planned project, and how many years of life are we adding back into the road by doing this project. And then it's going to give you basically an idea of how much each dollar spent is going towards adding to the life of the entire network of the city. We have a great customer success team. Essentially, they would be working on site with anybody involved, training them how to use the mobile app as well as our web system where you can view all the information, and really working closely with any of our partner municipalities. That's all we have. I'd love to answer any questions if there are any.
Daniel, this is Jerry Barbario. I'm the administrator and public works manager.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Does the program assess the reflectivity of the street signs? Or is that something that the AI can't do?
Unfortunately, the AI can't do that because it needs to be a measurement of the light coming off the sign. So we can tag, say if a sign looks faded, but we don't have an exact measurement of the reflectivity of that sign just because it is a photo image.
Okay. Second thing is it cloud-based and would we get like a sign-in to be able to access it or? Oh, okay, Ryan showing me his. Okay, great.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thanks. Good. I think you showed me this. the other day.
Kim Hess, I have a question. Could you tell me other municipalities that are using it now?
Yeah, so we are working with Washington Township nearby, as well as Absecon, as well as Gloucester County. I think we have about 30 to 35 municipalities in New Jersey using the system currently.
And are there different modules, or is this all one module that you just spoke of?
So everything that I just discussed would be included. We do have multiple modules, but I believe in the kind of proposal we have in front of you, everything that we've talked about would be in there.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Who does the inputting of the information into the software?
So the way that it works is a representative from the city would drive the roads, essentially just putting the phone in front of the car and driving. Once that drive is completed, those images are automatically uploaded into our servers. Our AI is going to analyze those images and then put them back into that web system that you see there. So there doesn't need to be any manually uploading of anything. You just basically, you put the phone out there, you drive, and then once you complete that, it's over.
Any other questions?
There was a question online, where is the data stored and how is it being backed up?
Great question. Yeah, so we work with AWS Gov, which is a very high security server that is all stored within the United States, and we have it backed up within that as well.
Do we actually have a proposal in writing or what's the cost of the program?
So
$9 grand, right?
we get this proposal, 5 years ago to do this when we had to do it manually and it was around 20,000. We can do it for like half of that. It should be around 10.
And that's a one-time fee, right?
Yeah, so it's a one-time fee to go, you get the assessment and include the computer subscription of the product. For that, we would go out and do the first drive, we drive every street with the camera mounted and then turn it over. I have a Absecon system here, so if anyone wants to see details, I can show exactly what the finished product looks like. All the signs are there, even like you're talking about, like you even get a little thing, you get a notification on the side, so it tells you like that stop sign is dirty. It picks up all kinds of information. But yeah, so we would go out and drive it. So we would produce this initial one. We have the fun to do it. You can really set it up with any iPhone. Like you said, you can mount a plug vehicle and drive around and get continuous updates. There's no additional cost to that.
That was my next question. No hidden costs anywhere.
Yeah, I have a question. Is there anywhere that, I know you couldn't do it with driving around, but you could add in manually the amount of traffic on one road opposed to another when you're weighing the value of paving a road, like paving Arago opposed to St. Louis. St. Louis gets a heck of a lot more traffic than Arago. So to add the traffic amount in the weight of, which street would be more valued at paving, is there a way to add that into the program?
Without doing like full traffic counts,
I was gonna say,
It's
you
hard to
need
have a
traffic
full-
counts and all
full
that,
data
that-
amount, But I mean, you
it's
guys
not that
know
high
which
tech yet.
are the traffic routes.
Right.
So I mean, you could take that data and take it into another spreadsheet or whatever and analyze it with that.
Okay, so we have to do that. And so you couldn't add it in there. We'd have to do that on
I'm not
another.
aware.
So, sorry to jump in, we can add that, if you have the data, we can add that within the system, so you can associate traffic data onto each segment of road. So you can do that, and then it would have to be a manual process. Obviously, in our system, we're not measuring that, but if you want to associate those, then you can see them when you are pulling segments to be paved. You can kind of weigh the pros and cons of the traffic on each segment.
Question.
Go ahead.
Is there an annual subscription rate that goes with this?
So I don't know, what is your typical renewal, your number? Can you give any information about that?
Sorry, so I'm filling in. I don't have the exact contract information. But usually we will do an annual subscription. That gives you access to all these tools year round, and then you are able to rescan roads as often as you like. But apologies, I don't have the exact information in front of me.
So, I mean, just for a ballpark number, in that, 10,000 or less, essentially, we have to go out and drive it the first time and do all of that. Once it exists, and you guys are maintaining it, subscription should be significantly less than the initial.
Great. And does the county participate in this program?
I don't think Atlantic County has yet. We've had numerous discussions with them and they have expressed significant interest. I mean, we talked to them about just doing countywide and sort of partnering with municipalities and doing it that way. We think that scale would be a lot cheaper for everyone. They haven't made that.
Do you think this would be qualified for that county program where the municipalities share? Do it
Like a
interlocal?
shared service,
Yeah, they have that grant program that they,
it's possible. Then reach out to them about it.
Yeah. okay.
Along those same lines, when they survey our town, they're gonna do the county roads within the town, correct? And the state road.
So.
Will they do the
sometimes-
White Horse Pike?
Yeah, sometimes we'll like avoid them, like we see things like we didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't do repair.
Just wonderful.
We certainly can approach the county and say, hey, we'll do these for you if you want to partner. with us. But yeah, we typically, if you're paying for it, we're not doing that. Unless you want us.
So what do we wanna do? Mr. Chair?
I just,
So,
have one-
well, you have a
I'm sorry,
question.
I have one other question. Do we have to put an RFP out there?
So you have a professional service agreement with us, we have partnered with Violytics. So you don't have to do a separate RFP, you don't have to, service express, it's essentially a service through us. You don't need to do that.
But we can if we chose to.
Yeah, you certainly could. There's a couple of similar completing products, but,
Mhm.
we looked at all of them and we were really impressed with Violytics, that's like part of it.
Thank you.
Sure.
So my suggestion, if council is comfortable with it, is authorize a contract for 1 year with, through our contract with Remington Burning. Because we want, the reason this came up is we want to put a road program together, paving program, and not start the way normally it happens. Well, what do you think? This street, and so forth. So we would all have the same information, and when you get to the end, so that would be my recommendation. It's not on the agenda, but if
You can make a motion.
I was gonna say the same thing. I mean, this thing is way overdue. I mean, way overdue.
All the time.
But I mean, I second that motion.
It really wouldn't be a 1 year contract, right? Because once we buy it, we buy it.
But
It's
you
not
pay
a-
the annual fee or whatever
A renewal.
the
There is a
renewal
renewal.
fee or whatever, yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, the cost up front is more because you have to go out and get the whole thing and set it all up and whatever. There's a renewal, a 1 year renewals, if you like it.
Okay.
continue to use it.
Yeah, I must not have.
So we'll have a-
Find out on that part.
we'll have a year to assess whether
Exactly.
we, it
Yeah,
is.
and in
that
the worst
what-
case, you still have the static data from it. So
Exactly.
we don't want to
Right.
continue, you at least have, paving inventory from that.
Mhm.
And I know from Jerry's point of view, wearing his public works hat, this is gonna be very helpful with the staff, the employees, so they don't have a database of signs, or anything. So they'll have it.
Now, Jody, where would these funds come from to pay for this? What budget would it come from?
I mean, we have an ordinance for parking and road improvements. I mean, I think it would be an idea. You can use that for soft costs for you know, doing those improvements, so I think we could probably charge it to that ordinance.
It's an engineering cost too.
Yeah, so I mean, be applicable to use that.
As long as it's there and we're not.
Yeah, rather than have to take it out of the operating budget, we had kind of set aside some money for working on improvements. So.
Okay, so is that a motion, Mr. Doe?
Yes, and
Okay,
Second.
Mason
You
is
second.
second.
I seconded it over.
okay, we have a motion made and seconded. Any questions?
I have a
Roll call.
question.
Go ahead.
So this is for us to go into at least a 1 year with this?
Yes,
That's a contract that we can review before we actually make this decision? So we know, have a better understanding in writing exactly what it is that we're getting?
So it just came up within the last like 2 days, so we didn't have a chance to get a full written proposal together. That's why I don't have a piece of paper in front of you. I unfortunately don't have the benefit of being here. I have the full account of like exactly what you would get, and what you'd see. But yeah, I mean, that's the only reason we don't have a written proposal in front of you. It sort of came up quickly. I mean, it's a concept we've been kicking around for years. Like I said, the last written proposal we gave for this was, I think it was like 19,800. So it's less than half that.
Yeah, I'd say it's like half the cost of what it came up before, so.
so, to deal with that question, my suggestion would be, that if everybody, again, Mason and I, in our motion, if we could, approve it subject to the review of the contract with our attorney, would that be fine?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so
Okay, so we have a
just
motion,
modify my motion to include that, and Mason, if.
I'm fine.
okay.
motion amended and seconded. Let's do roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Jody,
Yes,
Galloway,
As long as the funding is in place for it, and I would also like to contact Tim Kreischer to see if this would qualify for an interlocal grant agreement. I guess, I vote yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse,
Yes.
Keener,
Yes,
Timbers,
Yes.
and Wright.
Yes.
thank you.
anything else, Ryan?
We met out at the lake with Atlantic City Electric to go over the potential pole location where the electrical service would be for the 50 amp service upgrades. It was actually really good timing. It was the day after a giant windstorm and there was a tree hanging over the power lines. So thankfully Gary was able to put a call in while we were there, and they got that down the next day. It was literally an entire tree hanging, fallen, laying on other trees hanging over the power lines. So that was gonna end in disaster. But yeah, prices are already there. City Hall improvements, were kind of wrapping up the design on that. Still waiting for Norton's that subdivision, still waiting on word from iBank, we already be popped up in this fiscal year. Voice Becker demo, Chris, I gotta catch up with you about getting a notice to the property owner, so that we can give a proper notice for the demolition. Direct field improvements, I did get them the proposed plan showing the snack stand and the pad, so I'm just waiting for you to get on that. The tennis courts and pickleball, we exchanged a couple emails with the contractor, and they did indicate that they are planning on doing the leveling course before they do the final surface, so that was good. Brownfield redevelopments, we got an email about trying to set up a meeting, so trying to do that. And that's really all I have at the moment.
Okay,
I got a question
go ahead.
with the key rep, with, Leaks Park, the concession stand.
Yes.
While we're waiting for Pinelands to get back to us for that,
Mhm.
are we able to do anything with the announcers booth? Because
I'm
basically
expanding
with the
out-
the new door needs to get replaced. I mean, it's got about one more turn and then nobody's gonna be able to get back in there. And then the concrete pad for the porta pots. And then basically up top on the announcers booth before the doors fall down and,
So all of the building renovations you could do at any time, and I would need a permit for that.
uh,
The concrete pad, we should probably incorporate, because by itself, it's probably less than 1,000 square feet.
Okay.
But when you do the aggregate square footage, I think we're gonna be in excess, we're gonna have to count it in.
okay.
I mean, if.
I mean, the concrete's not the biggest deal, but like, basically, we can get you know, some quotes out there for a new door and lock for the stand and the announcer, we're getting the drop ceiling taken care of, the lighting and then the overhead doors.
Building stuff, I don't, if Public Works can probably handle the quotes and putting all that together, so we don't have to put it in specs or anything, the price should be low enough to be able to do that. You just need to know what it is, man. Yeah.
No.
And the only thing I would say is before you do anything at Key Rec, you should consult the Key Rec board. They've requested that.
Yeah, they were already in, this was
Okay.
already, we already had a meeting last year about this.
And you know who that would be, right, Jer?
I do.
But now they're already on top of it. I mean, it's basically our responsibility to take care of anything on the inside and theirs to take care of it on the outside, so.
You say
But,
door and what else? What else you said?
The two,
Heads?
they're up on the announcer's booth.
Yeah. Oh, the announcement.
We have two old doors that pull up so you can see down in the field where we make the announcements. They're like, they're gone, pretty much hanging on by a sheer thread. The drop ceiling's collapsing in the inside.
Okay.
The electrical panel finally got fixed, so we don't gotta worry about a kid getting electrocuted, but, so,
And the entrance door at the bottom?
yes, going, yeah,
Entrance to
to the side door, yep, yeah.
And, okay.
Basically, the door facing Ninth Terrace.
Okay.
And then, what else was there? Was something else in there? So basically that, where we're looking at basically, for the doors up top, and there's a little door, like it was a window, but it's covered up with a piece of plywood now, because the kids were breaking in there. And, but we're looking to do kind of what we have at the concession stand, like one of the roll door.
Yep.
Yeah, one of the roll things, one for the window up there and one for the announcer's booth up top.
Okay, so that's a long time, it's easy to go up and down.
Correct.
All right.
And also, an electrical outlet for the inside of the announcer's booth
Oh,
downstairs.
there you go.
For
Yeah.
the gear shop.
Is there a location for that electrical outlet or? Is there a counter, does it?
Well, the upstairs has plenty of electric, because downstairs, because now that we have the store downstairs. They need electric for down there. There's an outlet right on the other side of the window on the outside. There's just nothing downstairs,
Okay.
which is weird because it used to be a concession stand, so I don't know why there wasn't never an outlet in it.
But there-
Unless it got taken out.
I'll ask.
Yep.
Mr. Key Rec.
Yeah, inside there's still like the receptacles, I guess, for it, but they took the actual plug out. And it's right under the panel behind the door.
Lisa, good.
Yeah, that was it. Yep,
All
thank
right.
you.
And I would just like to reiterate, I know, Ryan, you've heard me say this a million times. I may have even said it at the last meeting, but please make sure there's an engineer on site when this gets done, because that is a 1 year guarantee, warranty, as far as I was made aware of. And if they screw it up, this is our last chance. I mean, that's it.
What's this for the tennis courts?
Yeah,
Inspector on site. Yeah.
I know you'll do it. I just want to make sure I say it enough.
The next like 2 weeks or so.
It's a white top now.
Okay.
I would think that
I
was
went to
pretty
town
clear.
with a spray paint.
I think that
You
was
shouldn't
pretty
be allowed
clear
to
after
pull the brother down.
the emails that went back and forth.
Yeah.
Trying. I'm trying. We got burned
Oh,
before.
no, I hear you.
All right, number 14.
I have one more question.
Okay.
Ryan, did you find anything out about the lights for the smoke shop? And if there's anything,
So-
state has?
I talked to Steve about that. The state's rules are really kind of vague. And it wasn't really clear who to actually contact for enforcement. I talked to some people in the grievance groups that's usually deal with that kind of stuff. And that wasn't really in their purview. There is stuff in your ordinance that you could cite them for. Because it talks about lights being shielded and not directed towards the roadway. It would just come down to citing that, citing that specific ordinance and give them a citation for it. Or at least have that discussion with them first and saying, look, you need to do something or we're going to. So I do think you have enough there to be able to.
Okay, I guess we can, I don't know if you're familiar with it or not.
I'll set up a call. with
Yeah.
you and,
Would you please?
and code enforcement to sort of go through. There's a store that's along US Route 30 and they put like LED perimeter lighting on the whole building. It's just directed out away from the building.
You can see it from Mars.
Yeah.
It's very bright. So, yeah.
Well, it's still is, yeah.
Yeah.
There's the same.
Well, so
thing in
the city's ordinance.
Yeah, I thought it was the first time in months today.
So the city's ordinance requires lighting to be directed, towards the property and not away from property, not out towards roads, things like that. So, I would think you would cycle on that, essentially they installed lighting that does not require. Yeah, it sounds like.
I mean, I think they should just put a dimmer on the darn thing and just turn it down a little bit. That's all.
Well, it's LED.
I know, they don't, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my suggestion was to put like a translucent film.
Because there's a couple other, gas stations that have the same lighting, but they're not as bright.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not as quite as aggressive.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, if they put, they saw like a rolled film that you could just put over it.
Yeah, it's just
Versus the light.
yeah,
so
just-
they're not staring. at it.
exactly.
Ryan, the ordinance that you're referring to, is that the one that states shopping centers? Because
No,
it basically
the
says
city-
shopping centers.
The city's lighting ordinance applies to all site events.
Okay,
So if you make a change to your site and you add site lighting, you're subject to that one.
perfect.
I would make sure that the administrator is part of that conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, number 14 on the agenda is introduce ordinance number 2 of 2025 to extend the municipal budget appropriation limits and establish a cap bank. Jody, you just want to explain that real
Yeah,
quick?
this is just an annual ordinance that we do every year. It's called the whole ordinance, if you remember from prior years. It allows you to increase your appropriations up to the 3.5 max state. And if you don't, it just banks the rest of it for a future year that you could use. And we do this every year. It is not.
Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make
So
a
moved.
motion.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Okay, Clark? Clark?
She gone.
Yes.
Duty,
Yeah,
Galloway,
Yes.
Heiss.
Yes.
Hesse.
Yes,
Keener,
Yes.
Timbers,
Yes.
and Wright.
Yes.
Okay, we need a motion to advertise notice of adoption. Notice of the introduction of ordinance number 2 in the Hamilton Gazette on April 16th for a public hearing on April 24th.
Make a motion. Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call.
Aye.
Okay. Ayes have it. All right, number 15, resolution authorize introduction of year 2025 municipal budget by title only.
Motion.
The motion's been made and seconded. Questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Joby,
yes,
Galloway,
Yes.
Heiss,
Yes.
Hesse,
yes,
Keener,
Yes.
Timbers,
Yes.
and Wright.
Yes.
Okay, we need a motion to advertise in the Hamilton Gazette on April 16th for a public hearing on May 8th. Is there a motion?
second,
Motion been made and seconded. All in favor?
aye,
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, number 16 on the agenda is a resolution approving a third amendment to the agreement of sale between Atlantic Motion Pictures Studio LLC by Jonathan Saker and the city of Egg Harbor, and authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute the third amendment on behalf of the city. Mayor, you want to explain that?
Yeah, Jonathan is still waiting for Pinelands approval, I believe, for stormwater management, right? Or they have it done, but they didn't submit it yet.
Yeah, he's been going through all the threatened endangered species, the cultural resource surveys, everything else. His engineer has been working with site plan, working with stormwater management. Originally he came to us with a request for a 6-month extension. I talked to his engineer. And I don't think they're gonna be able to make it in 6 months, so we suggested that they go to a year extension. He has spent a lot of time and resources on the property, and he's doing all the right things. It's just taking. So it's, I would certainly recommend granting the extension that he ordered.
So where does that take us to?
So the April 30th, I think, is his expiration.
Yeah,
that's what they said.
So April 30th of next year, then.
Correct.
But I would add that Jonathan's very confident that he is going to get this done within 6 months, but given how Pinelands operates, it's probably not likely.
So can I ask, if we gave him a 6-month extension instead of a year's extension,
Mhm.
what would that do? I mean, we would just have to come here and just extend it.
Yeah,
So
you're exactly-
So, yeah.
still
They're-
why?
You're better off giving them enough time. And there, and the engineering, so. We're on a call with him. It's clear that he's working very diligently and doing everything he can. We saw emails recently from EDA. Acknowledging, the grant funding application and everything. He's doing everything in his power to get it done. And, to the extent that Pinelands moves. At any pace at all, he should be able to get it done within a year, but it doesn't make any sense to shorten it because. It's not his, it's no delay of him.
Right.
It's all delay from agencies that he's already made the proper applications to.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second,
Second,
motion's made and seconded. Any further questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Doby,
yes.
Galloway,
I prefer a shorter time frame, but yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse,
I'm liking Annette, but I'll say yes as well.
Keener,
Yes,
Timbers,
Yes.
and Wright.
Yep.
okay, motion passes. Resolution recycling tonnage application.
It's just an annual, when we do our annual recycling tonnage report, we just are required to have a resolution submitted with it.
Okay,
I'll make a motion.
is there a second?
Second,
Motion made and seconded. Questions? Any further? Roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Doby,
Yes,
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse.
yes.
Keener,
Yes,
Is this for
Timbers.
next year?
Yes.
and Wright.
This one?
No, this.
motion passes.
This year.
Number 18,
Make yours last
resolution,
year.
the 2025 IRS mileage rate.
I think their budget's.
It's just a
Gotcha.
update of
Gotcha.
reimbursement for mileage. Jody?
Yeah, it's just the annual rate for 2025.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Motion made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Doby,
Yes,
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist.
Yes.
Hesse.
yes.
Keener,
Yes,
Timbers,
Yes.
and Wright.
Yes.
motion passes. Number 19, resolution approving the agreement with the Egg Harbor City Board of Education for school resource officer.
This is for next year, correct?
The school year runs.
Yeah, right, it runs different, so
So
this
for
is, 'cause I was
September.
gonna say, this school year is almost over, so it's
So
gotta
it'll
be
be
for
for
next year.
September.
Yeah, it's for September.
And it's the same as it was the other
Yes.
years, we're
Mhm.
reimbursed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Second,
Motion made and seconded. Questions? Roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Doby,
yes,
Galloway.
Yes.
Heist,
Yes.
Hesse.
yes.
Keener,
Yes,
Timbers,
Yes.
and Wright.
Yes.
motion passes. Number 20, resolution authorized roadway solicitation, coin drop for the Egg Harbor City Fire Department Ladies Auxiliary.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Opposed? Motion passes. Number 21, resolution authorizing roadway solicitation for the Egg Harbor City Fire Department.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I know I asked.
Motion passes.
How can they do this?
Okay, number 22.
I was always told.
Public hearing on ordinance number 1 for 2025. This is amending the redevelopment plan for the 801 Philadelphia Avenue rehabilitation area to permit certain cannabis uses. This is the Trockey Building on Philadelphia Avenue. So, public hearing is open. Anyone wish to be heard on the public hearing? Second call? Anybody? Okay, motion to close the hearing.
so moved, second.
I have asked Maggie.
All in favor?
Aye.
A motion to adopt?
I have a question before, I know he's put more trees up there now, but he still is not within what he said he was going to do, double them up, and they're certainly not arborvitae's, which that's fine. They put the Leland cypress in, they're not as sturdy of a tree, and they're not as dense of a tree either. And there's no watering source, so I'm sure they're not going to last there anyway. And so to me, I think it was a futile attempt to appease us. So I disagree.
I mean, if we want him to increase the landscaping, I mean, it.
Mhm.
Again, I think the language we come back to is that from the original, like the 2000.
23.
No, it's like
Oh,
17 when it
Oh,
first
yeah.
came. Yeah, when it first came.
Development plan.
Okay.
Yep.
So I mean, we kind of talked about it, the rules from what was envisioned at that time and what was allowed under state law at that time were very different. His request to the city at that point was for a facility that would have been about 1 in 15 or 20 in the state.
Right.
And now, he'll be 1 among 1,000. So I think, the intent of the redevelopment plan previously is to be, fully screened and fully, it was treated very differently 6 or 7 years ago than it is now. I do still think it's a worthwhile attempt to get him to do as much as we can get him to do as part of this. I think he would be receptive if we approved him and said, you're approved with a condition to, install additional trees in between, in the area where you installed them and install them maybe down the other side where you didn't install them on Deer Street. So I mean, I think he would be open to that, but I do know the approval itself is, at this point in time, is very important to him and his operation.
And us
So
too.
I
Oh,
think
yeah,
if you-
definitely.
If you, approved him with conditions, I do believe he would meet them. Because
Yeah.
we didn't think we were gonna get over 1 tree, and we've got 50 or so now.
Mhm.
So I mean, he has expressed numerous times that, he's willing to do whatever it is that we're requiring, but he really.
And honestly, once he starts planting that water runoff, if he takes that and
Mhm.
waters those trees with them, they're gonna be touching the moon very quickly. So.
From a legal standpoint.
Once they water the cannabis,
Yes,
that water they can use to water.
has that been suggested?
Secondary runoff.
The secondary
I have not
runoff.
had that
That would be
Can be
really,
used to water those trees and he's gonna wind up,
well, that would be great.
So some excess water.
yeah, so,
Right.
yeah.
Can we put that in there?
Those seats in there.
From a legal standpoint, can we put those restrictions on the approval?
I don't think you could restrict it, so, well,
So that
I think you're
I
gonna.
mean, it's part of our, yeah,
Sorry, yeah, so you can hold them to the redevelopment plan.
Yeah.
And then you can always, revoke the redevelopment plan if you wanted.
Okay. So we'll say those things to them after we do the adoption, if it gets
Yeah, we'll
approved.
just say it's adopted, but you're reminded that these are conditions and this is, this is
Right.
what's required. This is what you've done so far. Council is happy to make progress, but you've not yet satisfied the redevelopment.
so what's the consequences if he doesn't follow through?
We can rescind this.
Can we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Is there a motion? to
I'll make a
adopt?
motion.
Second.
Motion
Right,
made and
lose all these
seconded.
businesses.
Any further questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Doty,
Yes,
Galloway.
Yes.
Heist.
Yes,
Hesse.
Yes,
Keener,
Yes,
Timbers,
Yes.
and Wright.
Of course.
motion passes. Motion for advertising the notice of adoption in Hamilton is that on April 16th.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion made second, all in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, number 23 is the bill list.
Pay those bills.
Motion second.
second,
Okay, motion made and seconded. Questions on the bills? No? Roll call, please.
Clark,
Yes.
Doty,
yes,
Galloway,
Yes.
Heist,
yes.
Hesse,
Yes,
Keener,
Yes.
Timbers,
Yes.
and Wright.
Yes.
Okay, number 24, Mayor?
I was just wondering on 22, do we have to have a public hearing?
We were supposed to open up to the public.
We did.
Oh, we did, and then we
That's
closed.
what it
Right.
was.
No, yeah, you're right.
Okay.
I said,
No,
Nobody-
you're right.
I said first and second call.
I didn't hear it.
Mm.
So I just want to give my condolences to Carl and Samantha for the loss of their stepfather this week. They're a very nice family and a very nice couple, and it's very sad to see him go.
Amen to that.
Thank you.
That's all.
Councilman, right?
Basically, same thing, send my condolences out to your family. Couple things for Jody, I meant to bring up the other thing, 2 things. One, if I can get that how much we have in that account to see for these projects.
Oh, sure, what was that?
And then number two, if I could also get a printout. This year, last year you gave me one. This year, I didn't get one. I had a month breakdown for the electric.
Oh, yeah. I didn't-
Because the simple fact, I mean, it's not bad. I mean, electric's like a quarter of what it was. I mean, it's still $7 grand.
Yeah, it's a lot better this year than.
But the thing is.
Yeah.
There's two baseball teams using them fields out there. They're using the spring and fall. It had nothing to do with the Crusaders. They're not even, I mean, they're playing, consider Egg Harbor, but they're not Egg Harbor, Crusaders. So they're using the lights at the Little League. Nobody's using the big lights so far, knock on wood. But, so that's a blessing. So, but he used it in the spring and the fall. I mean, if it's a small dollar amount, I'm not gonna even
Right,
sweat it, because I know those lights over there don't generate much.
It's better this year, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll send that to you though.
Well, the big thing was the men's baseball team didn't use the lights last year. They started their games at 6 o'clock and were done, so they weren't getting that $1,500 part, you know, so that's saved. And maybe it's a Jack question. These travel teams that are, I know I've talked about this before.
There's no more travel teams that are playing games, they're just practice.
So who's paying for the dirt and stuff that gets put over us? Are they?
I believe that was donated, wasn't it?
No, we paid.
We paid for this load.
Oh, this one today.
Okay.
And we paid for
I know
3
it's on the
for
bill.
Crusaders, so we paid for that. I
They
think
were paying for the infield.
we paid for Crusaders too.
For the Crusaders?
Yeah.
We don't even have baseball.
Well, they did the field. Gary put how much on, like?
Yeah, we don't
Three
even have,
truckloads?
we don't
Three
even have
truckloads?
baseball. Cause what, years ago,
Well, whoever's playing at that baseball.
yeah, that's
field.
Danny's travel.
That
There's
we
been
put it
nothing
there.
done to this field, we have the city. for-
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm just wondering. I didn't know if the city's paying for these, you know, teams that come out here and practice and use the field and there, cause any other town, the teams pay to use these fields.
They do.
And the
They
practice,
do.
that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
they pay for the electric.
yeah, so I just wanna make sure,
Today, this field's in good shape.
yeah. No.
Be good for. a
So
year
is this
or so.
dirt what was seen, come from the dirt that was over at the other field?
No, it's separate.
Separate, okay,
It was an additional.
okay.
And the thing is, I know I saw the email and I meant to respond, but then I forgot. With the clay. If the teams aren't going to take care of the clay by covering it and making sure they're not raking it, the kids digging it out, clay is useless.
Yep.
Because we used to have to go up to North Jersey and get the bricks of clay, do the batter's mounts and the pitcher's mount. And if they're not covering it and stuff, the clay is useless and you're spending all this money on clay it's just gonna disappear and be junk.
So to date, I haven't ordered any
'Cause-
bricks or any clay,
Mhm.
just infield mix.
Yeah, oh, that's good then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't ordered any of that.
yeah, I wouldn't, I mean, unless they plan on covering it and stuff, I wouldn't
I don't think
order.
we've ever
It
ordered
hasn't
it.
been.
Now,
requested.
we used to, for, our son's 23 now, so I would say, since he was 17, for like 10 years, the Crusaders paid for all the dirt.
Yeah.
They paid for the clay, but we used to have to go up to North Jersey to get the bricks and put it in there, but we used to cover it with a tarp at the end of the game or practice, cover it with a tarp. But the problem was the kids used that as a path to go to school and they were pulling the covers off and stuff like that. So after, I think we did it for like the first 2 years and everybody says, it's just a waste of money.
Yeah.
So,
No, we haven't paid for any, we haven't installed any.
yeah, I'm just saying, I mean, unless the teams plan on covering it and taking care of it, it's just, you're just throwing money out the window.
And infield mix and play, kind of something that I make a mistake of using interchangeable.
Oh, yeah, no, that's what I figured.
Yeah,
That's what, yeah.
And Jackie is the Kearney's field police. She doesn't
Yes,
like-
I know, yeah, that's why I wanted
It's away with
I
anything
know.
there.
I just wanted to make sure.
Okay,
And we
anything
should-
else? Vin?
Excuse me, and we should thank Gary too for
Yes.
fixing those lights over there.
Yes,
Yeah.
Gary fixed all the lights.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Thanks for filling in for Gary tonight.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that's all, because I know, and that the travel's become really big now. I mean, not so much big, the issue is there's so many travel teams in a small little area. So basically like me and Jerry coaching a team, we have a little argument. Now he's got a travel team, I got a travel team. Travel is now watered down rec is basically what it is now. And so teams are trying to get fields anywhere they can. You know, like those Bader fields that are going to Atlantic City, there's gonna be a line down Atlantic City, White Horse Pike for people trying to get those fields. I can tell you that right now. It's just, you know, but I just want to make sure that, you know, we're getting something out of it, because,
Just want to ask Jackie, how many teams are playing over there? Every time I go by, I see them, and the girls.
It's two softballs in, right?
They have two different teams on different levels.
Gotcha.
The 10U, a 12U, sometimes the 14, they play amongst each other as a practice. It's
Mhm.
not like, there's no more concession stand things going on
Right.
like it was years ago. There's no more.
Is Hamilton Star still using that? Well, I see there's no mount there, so I'm assuming that there's no
Most of them
baseball
out of
teams
town.
over there.
It's,
It's,
well, some of them are local that live here, but they play on a travel team that's out of town.
Right.
So they
And
have.
it's just strictly a softball field.
Yeah, I
It's
see
not
that there's no mount there
and
now.
There's no Sunday,
Mhm.
just practice during the week and sometimes on a Saturday.
And do you know offhand what they do pay to use that
They
field?
pay $250, each team pays $250.
For the
Yes.
season?
Yes.
So, that's good. Thank you.
okay, Councilwoman Galloway.
Just condolences to Carl and your family.
Councilwoman Hesse.
I would like to reiterate that condolences to Carl and Samantha.
Councilwoman Clark.
I think it's been said, but Carl, so sorry for your loss. Your prayers are our prayers and my family are with you guys. And if you ever need anything, call.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Yes, my condolences, Carl, for the loss of your father-in-law. And I have a really short thing I'd want to read from the prosecutor's office if nobody minds. On Tuesday, April 1st, 2025, the Atlantic County Board of Commissioners presented the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office with a resolution recognizing the week of April 6th to April 12th as National Crime Victims' Rights Week in Atlantic County.
I forgot about this.
Flammer thanked Chairman Rick Daz and the board on behalf of the entire Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office team that provided commissioners with insight on the importance of supporting victims, survivors, their families, and all those affected by crime. On behalf of Prosecutor Reynolds, we truly thank you for the resolution recognizing National Crime Victims' Rights Week, said Flammer. The majority of my 20-plus years career as a prosecutor has been devoted to special victims cases. Throughout that time, I can assure you and the residents of Atlantic County that everyone in our office is wholly dedicated to the pursuit of justice for all crime victims. Flammer told the commissioner about how one case in particular illustrates the importance of this week, saying in 2014, one man who will remain nameless utterly devastated the Papson Heist families of Egg Harbor City. His crime sent shock waves throughout the town and our county. That one person brutally killed Michelle Paps and her 7-year-old son, Gavin, in the most horrific manner imaginable. Sorry. The senselessness, cruelty, and brutality they suffered at their hands was devastating. For the first responders, law enforcement, and assigned to the investigation, victim witness advocates provided comfort, and myself assigned to prosecute the case, the effects were profound. This was one of those cases that stays with you forever. But the impact on us professionals tasked with seeking justice and providing comfort to victim survivors paled in comparison to the heartache, crushing loss, and shattering impact felt and lived for the family and friends of Michelle and Gavin. Throughout the investigation, prosecution, and ultimate sentencing of the perpetrator, the Papps family, their friends, and Egg Harbor City community stood strong for each other and for the memory of Michelle and Gavin, said Flammers. Flammers told the board that the Papson Heist family will be recognized by the Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office on Friday, April 11th, 2025 to close National Crime Rights Week, and said it goes without saying that no family ever wants such recognition, but it is equally true that no family has displayed such remarkable strength and resilience when faced with such an unimaginable situation. Flammer also thanked the commissioners, telling them it in supports such as this that helps us pursue justice and healing for victim survivors, their families, and all those impacted by crime. It is support such as this that provides comfort to all victim survivors to know that they are never alone and that are always remembered, and that victims such as Michelle and Gavin will never be forgotten. I just wanted to read that because it doesn't say anything in there about our first responders, our firemen who went to that house, our firemen who had to find Gavin and Michelle, our policemen that stood by us and held us, They deserve recognition, and I thank them. And I just wanted to make that public because they didn't acknowledge them. And they were the first ones there. They were the ones that stood by us. They were the ones that stood at my driveway to keep the press from coming into my home to bother my family. And I truly, truly am grateful for that. And Mason, I'm grateful for the Crusaders and the board, for Gavin's Field, always remembering him as a little boy with the backward hat playing in the dirt out in that outfield. And everyone who remembers them, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And that's all I have.
Thank you for sharing.
Donovan, thank you for bringing that up, and I've seen that in the media reported, and you bringing up the first responders here in Egg Harbor City and your family's appreciation for their performance and work that day. It's very profound. Thank you for doing that, and my condolences to your family. Thank you. Also, that's
Councilman Tibbers.
I wanted to use my time to kind of tell a little story about my father-in-law. My father-in-law was Anthony Rice. He was a polio survivor from Philadelphia in a neighborhood that same neighborhood that I grew up in. It's Mount Airy, Germantown. It's the same neighborhood that the residents over 150 years ago or more decided to leave when people approached our neighborhood and they founded Egg Harbor City. So after he graduated from high school, his family moved to Atlantic City. He gave 30 years to the Atlantic City school system. He was, again, he was a polio survivor, so he was like a school resource officer. He worked in the hallways. He chased the kids around. They nicknamed him Hopalong because he had a polio leg. So when he got married to my mother-in-law at that time, I think he was living in Mays Landing, and he used to drive her to Egg Harbor City. And he would drive around, he would say, "This is the neighborhood that I grew up in. It's not Philadelphia, but it looks just like it." And he drive around the house, drive around the neighborhood, he'd go to Atlantic Avenue, and point at the house and be like, "I love this house." One day they're driving past the house and he sees a for sale sign. He gets out, and as I said, he was nickname was Hopalong. He hop-alonged up to the door, knocked on the door, and said, "I love this house." Met the homeowners, and eventually they got a deal done with a bank, and they ended up moving into that home on Atlantic Avenue. And they spent 25 years there. Six, 4 boys, 1 girl. My wife, my son, he went to schools in Egg Harbor City, and my father-in-law always celebrated Egg Harbor City for everything that had given him and his family. This is the city that he came to love. It's an uncommon love because he loved it for what it gave to him and what he wished he could have gave to the city. I'm on this dais because he used to tell me he wanted to be on council, but he didn't feel that he could walk the blocks. So I just wanted to take my time to celebrate him a little bit, just show my appreciation and love for him. Thank you for giving me that.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes, very nice. Thank you. I also offer my condolences, as I told you on the phone, so.
Thank you all.
Anybody from the public wish to be heard? Yes, please come on. Okay.
Beginning of the last few months. Like everybody else has, we call you Hopalong.
Yeah.
If you would just state your name and. your
Yeah.
address.
Mayor Campbell, Rittenberg Manor. Want to clarify if I understood what you were saying about the striping that I call like painting the pedestrian lines. And you said the county, so that's just crossing Philadelphia Avenue.
Yes, they're gonna do those, and I know that's important to you.
It is
Because they're
important.
very bad.
And as well as our cross streets, because some of those are just like totally gone.
Mhm.
And as a pedestrian, handicapped or otherwise, the only chances we slightly have that somebody might stop is if they see a line. For those with some, I've had experiences where,
Yeah.
but I've always felt for everyone's safety that the lines would provide a safety mechanism. But hey, I'll take Philadelphia Avenue. But just saying, our cross streets, some of those lines are just gone.
Mhm.
So if and when I could ever, 50 years ago, I'd bring out my paintbrush. But
No, Jerry will take care of that. A lot of times they try to get the school ones done first. and
I
then,
do understand and since I've lived
Yeah.
up here, usually, and please, nothing against school children, but that's the only blocks that's still like, and I could be wrong, but I think all the crosswalks that on Arago
Mhm.
are like gone.
Mm.
It's just not there.
Yeah.
So, but hey, like I said, I'll take whatever safety, which is bringing my next topic. Because of some changes in my life, I've become more of a passenger, in vehicles. And some probably know where I'm gonna go with this, but some of the people transporting me have expressed concern, frustration, anger, trying to turn, and I'm always messed up, like off of Philadelphia coming onto camp, because
Mhm.
again, I'm living at.
Very aware of that,
Yeah.
that spot, yes.
And you just can't without going
Yeah.
literally into the other lane. And one person I was with, I understand their frustration, but there was an oncoming car that stopped. And then all those vehicles and the person driving me went between them. And I don't think it's a 3 or 4 lane street. So I just want to leave again, if
Mhm.
there's any way to stop the parking
Yeah.
on whatever that side is.
Yeah.
The directions either, but the opposite side of Rittenberg. At least from the corner to the terrace, because then those. Well, I would say even making a left turn, but mostly for me, it's the right turn off the Philadelphia Avenue. You can't see anything until you're
Right,
there.
Exactly.
So we could get a little more room,
Mhm.
at least there's a chance to.
Yeah.
Pull to the side or something, and I have to say, this is some changes in my life, I'm not walking the way I used to. But when it's parked all the way up there, and many times at certain times of the day, they're parked on the crosswalk.
Oh, yeah,
So
Saturday morning.
my only chance is literally stepping past the vehicles to look to see if there's something oncoming. Because I'm weird, I like don't cross if the light, well, I don't step off a curb just because the light turned green, but.
Mhm.
So if anything can be done to, at least from Philadelphia Avenue. Oh my gosh, I forgot what terrace it is, behind Rittenberg.
Six there.
6 cars.
Well,
Yeah.
because I used to live further down, but if something can be done, so, because I know there's no parking on the Rittenberg side.
Right.
But that particular side, because again, I've always known it as a pedestrian, but as I've now been.
But just,
Vehicles.
just so you know that, we're looking at all those streets. Because the fire department has said something about that too, where getting a fire truck down that road when there's cars on both sides of the street.
Oh, yeah.
But the one problem with that particular spot that you're talking about is those people that live it.
Right.
There's a bunch of people that live in those buildings right there. There's really no,
Street.
yeah,
Mhm.
there's really no other place for them to.
I think.
And the
they can
restaurant.
park around back though.
Yeah, you got
There's
parking
a
out
couple
back.
spots back there, but
Yeah.
no.
But it's.
But then you got all the traffic at the house too.
Set an understanding to that difficulty.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
and
That's
I'm just
something
very
has to be done.
concerned about general safety as well, because pretty much during daylight business hours or whatever, whenever I'm in a vehicle, and there's particularly one person that transports me a lot. Her language is one that I unfortunately use a lot, but she's just, and now, of course, she's taking me going all the way down to Claudia's. to Come around. But it's just not a situation.
Yeah,
But
I
thank
did bring that up in the fall and
Yes.
nobody was going for it, but
I noticed, and I have to say, I have it on my phone, I have video of when I'm.
Oh, we know.
sitting in the car and we're turning, just in case someone didn't
Mhm.
understand, you're literally in the oncoming traffic.
Mhm.
And when that happens, if someone's coming up, there has been conflicts
Mhm.
with who gets to back up.
right.
And Saturday morning,
Then back up on Camp Street as opposed to us having to back around again on the Philadelphia,
Mhm.
because you still have the incoming car.
Bless you.
So anyway, but I just,
Well, I guess my question for Ryan is, I know that's an old apartment building there, but don't they have to provide parking, so many parking spots?
If they were building a new one.
but I usually.
It's been there for 100 years.
In my assessment, brilliant assessment, it appears to me that there is some sort of.
they have parking in the
parking
back.
behind it
They
that
do.
looks like could fit the usual,
Right.
especially the one gigantic truck that's usually.
I don't think it's just that, the
It
people that
looks
live there, but you got,
like-
there's a restaurant right next door, you know, so Al's got his customers that go inside too.
I understand that
Mm.
convenience and so forth and so on, but, just because you're patronizing a business, does that make it okay?
No, I'm just saying that's, you know, no, yeah.
But unsafe at least.
It is very unsafe.
no, 100%.
If possibly, we just can't put
I
some,
think it just park a little further.
Put some of that yellow-
Park a little
I was gonna say, can you come, like, make the yellow
Yellow,
further
yeah.
down?
something, like the Rittenberg sign Rittenberg side has signs that says no parking.
right, and there's no yellow markings there, yeah. yeah.
Wouldn't 2 car lengths back from Philadelphia Avenue be
I think that
sufficient?
would be good, yeah.
I mean, barely.
I think it would help.
So-
It would help.
Anything to get it away from,
That's what
you
I'm,
know, the corner crosswalk.
yeah,
So
that way.
maybe 3 lengths down from.
I'm surprised there hasn't been an accident,
Me
to be
too.
honest, because especially making it right, because if you're coming down Philly Ave,
I can't.
That's what I'm
you
saying.
make that right, you can't see nobody coming this way and you're going, I'm surprised. there hasn't been.
Walking, that's why this is
Right.
attached, wherever I go,
Mhm.
you know, but anyway, but thank you.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it up again, Mary.
Thank you for bringing it up.
Out in public for at least a little while.
Thank you,
We're
Mayor.
happy to have you.
Yep. Thank you for your input.
Anyone else in the public wish to be heard? There being no one else, is there a motion to adjourn? Carl,
Good.
Second.
Yeah, right?
Carl,
Pick
all
one.
in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Nobody's opposed to it.
Yeah, should be.
No parking. That Street, no matter.
It is.